You're such an asshole.
We got an economics question, and I like my economics questions. Good afternoon, Aaron. Thanks again for your recommendation on Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yeah, it's a good one. I liked your review and decided to pick up the game. The music is my favorite so far, and having attractive women not yelling at the patriarchy is a nice change of pace. Yeah, there's no fat chicks in that video game either. Hey, my mainstream people, mainstream media, video games, thought police. When you start making women hot again, we'll stop complaining about the fat chicks, okay? All right? We'll stop complaining about that. Unrelated, I wanted your thoughts on a topic I've been contemplating. People regularly compare the dating market with the job market. Example, the ghosting, the desire to look for unicorns, the gaslighting, the childish behavior, the fake dating profiles, and the fake job listings. Huh? Did you get that one? The lack of desire to fulfill their end on the bargain. Yeah, don't forget, put your best foot forward and then mail it the fuck in after you get accepted. My question is, if we are currently seeing the dating market taking a nosedive, can we expect the same? Yeah, I'm tired. Oh, let's focus, Clary. My question is, if we are currently seeing the dating market take a nosedive, can we expect the same in the job market when people just say screw you to all the businesses? What would be the absolute end state of the job market, seeing as how the absolute state of the dating market is leading to fewer kids, more broken homes, less genuine relationships? Thanks for the commentary. Always sincerely, we'll keep you anonymous. So my question is, if we are currently seeing the dating market take a nosedive, can we expect the same in the job market when people just say screw you to all businesses? Generally, yes, and you're already seeing it. I would also say, especially for men, the dating market and the job market is the same because largely most of our efforts are to go and get a date, get a gal, go get laid, have children, have sex. And to do that, the main way we do it, at least in terms of hours we put towards it, it would be the labor market. Going, getting college degrees, sitting in interviews, working extra hours and all that. And you see both, I would say they're measuring the same thing. They are both tanking. Where was it? They compare the dating market to the job market. Example, ghosting, desire, look for unicorns, gaslighting, childish behavior, and lack desire to fulfill their end of the bargain. And that's happening. As you said, the dating market and the job market is the same. And it is not a coincidence that Karen in HR is the exact same woman with the exact same selection process as Becky on a date. That's why I put Becky and Karen up there. It is the exact same psychology. And just to point out, ladies, especially those of you in HR, you're just as good at selecting job candidates as you are men that make you happy till death do you part. Oh, I wonder if we should get rid of interviews. You need interviews. We just get rid of HR. So what I did, I got the notes here. Came first, the horse or the egg? Compare the day market to the job market, gaslighting. See, when you say the ghosting, the desire to look for unicorns, the gaslighting, I don't know if you're talking dating or the labor market. It's kind of both. And you're saying we're seeing the dating market tank. Can you accept to see the same in the job market? And you already have. And so I have a list of basically labor force participation, but don't just think a bit about labor force participation. Let's look at participation within society, period, especially on the part of men. All right. If you look at it here, the marriage rate, that's fallen down, right? Because, well, it's just risky. Why get married to? A lot of guys can't afford it too. Now, I'm not just talking the divorce. They can't afford it. Can't afford to have a family. The fertility rate is going down, right? So you see men retreating from the dating, courtship, marriage market. Certainly the commitment market. Maybe not so much the sex and dating market. And correlated right with that, labor force participation rate, especially of young men or working age men. With prime age men, they say that's 18 to 54, 25 to 54, depending on which age cohort. Yes, they're both going down. Yes, they are positively correlated. Yes, they are the causes of one another because they co-correlate with the same thing: men's lack of desire and lack of incentive to invest in society. That's what we're measuring with all of this. So I would say, yes, a man is just as reluctant to go on a date because not incentivized enough. And he's just, and therefore, since he's not incentivized enough to go on a date, there's not hot chicks. No reason to have families. Too risky. Why would they work as much? It's what all these metrics are measuring is how much faith men have in a successful relationship with women. And if we don't have a woman in our lives, if we don't have a family, if we don't have a wife, then why the fuck would we work so much? We don't have anyone to support. There's no reason to go buy fancy baubles and shit. And so they're all the same. So the marriage rate is going down. I got that in and it's very interesting. They all kind of in the same chapter here. A world without men. And I go through economic participation here. I got my list. So marriage rate goes down. I apologize for repeating myself. Marriage rate going down, fertility rate going down. The two most major non-financial metrics of men's participation in society. The next one I say labor force participation rate. This has gone from, God, I wish I had better glasses. If I recall correctly, it was damn near like 88% of able-bodied men were part of the labor force. Now it looks like it's down to about 56. It's dropped significantly. There it is, 87 down to 67, a full fifth. Labor force participation rate for 16 to 19-year-olds, that went down. That went from 50 to 35%. Male inactivity rates. This would be akin to your not in labor force, NEET, neither in education, employment, or training. NILFs, not in the labor force. The oldest data series they have is inactivity rates, ages 15 to 24. Oh, gosh, I can't read that. Looks like it's about 25%. And now 15 to 24, it's almost 40%. If I read that correctly. Yeah, it looks like 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yeah, so it was inactivity about 20% back in the day. That looks like in 1980, 1960. And now it's almost doubled today. Your NILF rate or your NEET rate. And then hours worked per year. Going back to 1900, the average man worked about 3,500 hours per year, almost 2 full-time jobs, because most people were farmers back then. That came crashing down with the Industrial Revolution. And then it is in 1980, men working about 2,200 hours. Now they're working at about 2,000. So 4 decades later, there's still, what is that, 10% drop. So the fewer men that are working less. Hours worked per year. Here's a better chart. Yeah, just from 2007 to 2022, it's gone from about 2,090 hours to 2,000 hours, 190-hour drop. And then the retirement age, men are retiring earlier, although this one has a confounding variable that boomers didn't save for money. But average men retirement age has gone from 69 to a low of 62, and now it's creeping back up to about 65 because boomers didn't save for retirement. And then what else? Also in here, I had disability claims. Yeah, there's the fertility rate, the marriage rate, the percent of men living in. How many data points? Get this book. How many data points would you like? Percent of men, 25 to 34, living at home with parents and or relatives. In 1967, it was 12%. Now it's about just shy of 30, 28, 29%. Yeah. Now they're rent and inflationary reasons and all that other stuff. I'm not even going to bother going into the disability claims. But my question is, if we are currently seeing the dating market take a nosedive, can we expect the same job market where people say screw you in all businesses? I'm saying, yeah, that's already happened, especially among men. The future is now. Men have been by some metrics for decades. It's usually because work sucked. Men wanted to get the hell out of physical labor, and you had the Industrial Revolution. So obviously they prefer that. We're seeing the dating market take a nosedive. Can we expect the same in the job market where people just say screw you to all businesses? Yeah, it's already happening. No one you got I mean, they even got names for it: the lying flat, the quiet quitting, the they have different phrases for it here in China. But I would argue you're measuring the same thing. You're measuring men's investment in society, and they normally did that through work. And not only is it men pursuing the same thing when they're going for a job interview, they're going for dating. 'Cause why else would you work more than you had to? When it is not by accident. It's not by design, it's just by nature that most of your HR generalist interviews are women, and they use the exact same piss shit interviewing and selection techniques that they use for choosing the wrong men all the time. Yes, there are a lot of similarities there. And I think if you throw in the labor market, where it differs between the dating market and the labor market, the men's incentive is the same. The incentive had been wiped out. The hurdles to succeed in the dating market and the the job market, those are different, but still more or less gate kept by women or disproportionately determined by women, right? And for other reasons, both employers and women have become more finicky and picky. In businesses, you have them ever requiring a progressive credentialism, more and more education in order to get an entry level job. Women with online dating, again, has nothing to do with the progressive credentialism, but the social media, they become exponentially more finicky about the men they date. Women are propagandized not to want to have kids or a husband. That has nothing to do with the cult of college, where everyone's got to go to college, get a college degree. Women are conditioned to, no, you don't need no man, you don't want no man. To you, young people are conditioned, you got to go to college, get an education, you got to work, you got to get your MBA, bro. And and the requirements, the standards of, I guess, would be considered the employers. The employers and women have become so astronomically high that the participants in those markets have just said, fuck off, we're not doing it anymore. I mean, men can't. You really can't, because now you kind of merge back into the same markets. You're going to college so you can get a date, so you can get a job, so you get a girl. In order for me to go get a job, I got to go to school for probably 6 years of college. Fuck off. I'm not doing that. No. You throw in everything men see with girls at the end of it. Not to mention guys get shot down, their fuel's taken out of their tank, and they don't have the incentive or the energy to go do that anymore. And so not only are the standards required to get a job inflated and too high, the standards and requirements to get a girl are too high, which includes getting that job, by the way. Guy like, no, man, there's only so many hours in the day. Only so many hours in the day. Girls aren't as interested. Like, girls don't go to school or college to go get the guy. They do it for their own. So they don't have the incentive to go and pursue men and impress men or anything like that. However, they are equally pursuing and conditioning program, like, oh, you got to get a job. I mean, perhaps even more so than men, to succeed in a career. And even there, I think a lot of women are like, they're not as deterred as men. There's still more women that are going to college than men, but the percentage overall of both men and women going to college is going down. Women, like men, are also lying flat when it comes to the labor market, but they don't have that secondary confounding incentive or factor of pursuing the opposite sex. Whereas as far as men goes, that's killing killing two birds with one stone. I get the career to get the girl. But God, how would I put it? I would even say maybe women have been giving up on dating, but at the end, the dating market has become increasingly impossible. So men are participating less asking out, less marriage proposals, things like that. Associated with that, Men, therefore, do not have the incentive to work as hard, try as hard, and all that. And also adding further deterrence is the ridiculous education requirements and the psychopathic, mentally ill culture corporate America has become. And that also affects women, right? You guys sit for the DEI. We have CPE, but oh my God, hey, family, hey, gang. So corporate America unto itself, the job market is already deterring enough that people are lying flat. But I would say men have a double interest because they would also attain girls, which is therefore the dating market, and therefore corporate disincentive further disincentivizes men from achieving what they need to in the dating market, on top of the already heavy disincentives, women's behavior and propaganda and public pronouncements of what their interests are in men. That's a double deterring effect to men. Whereas women are still, they never really had that motivating force to go into the dating market, but the job market for them is also increasingly deterring. So where both men and women are lying flat, saying, no, I'm not doing that, having higher expectations. All right, so let's go through this again and see if I kind of organize jibble jabbered thoughts here. Thoughts I've been contemplating. People regularly compare the dating market with the job market. Example, the ghosting, desire to look for unicorns, the gaslighting, the childish behavior, the lack of desire to fulfill their end of the bargain, etc. My question is, if we are seeing the dating market taking a nosedive, can we expect the same in the job market when people just say screw you to all businesses? And I've said, as evidenced by all the charts and the data, which you could find here in A World Without Men before, or just go to the Federal Reserve database, the FRED database of St. Louis, type in inactivity rates, all that other stuff. I'm saying you're already seeing it. Additionally, I'm saying as it pertains to men, the dating market is also inextricably entwined with the labor market for men's incentives. So they get a double disincentive with women's modern day behavior and general dismissal of men and rejection of men. So they're again, they don't have the incentive, no gas in the tank, and then it's just basically increasingly impossible, and also not worth it for them to meet the corporate standards. So they are dropping out of the labor force participation rate. Women, because they do not have the incentive of attracting a man, but frankly got nothing else in life. You can see it. There's a big jump in women's labor force participation rate, and that's starting to decline a little bit now. They do not have the double market that men do, or the double incentive men do. It is purely for employment. But yet even there, corporate America has become such a bullshit, unacceptable place to work. Women are also lying flat, and you start to see their labor force participation rates. We're talking only 10 years, in the past 10 years. They're just starting to come back down now. So because you have two sexes, one of which is only participating in one of the markets, you're going to have differing statistics and performances measured out in the willingness to participate and invest in society. Women are up there. They're starting to taper down a little bit. They're also starting to say, forget it. I'm going to lie flat or not work as, but you could see it. And I'd like to see what's happening in millennial girls, especially those with children. But for the men, they're like, no, fuck this shit. I'm out. That very much has become reality, where the dating market and its disincentives are now also reflected in the job market. The job market men are already lack a desire to fulfill their end on their bargain. Can you expect the same in the job market when people just say screw you to all businesses? Yes, because it's already happening. What would be the absolute end state of the job market, seeing as how the absolute state of the dating market is leading to fewer kids, more broken homes, and less genuine relationships? Well, the dating market leads to families, right? The job market leads to the economy. And if you don't have a critical mass of people, male or female, working in the economy, it just simply collapses. What will happen is you have the same amount of people, or people are dumb enough to breed more people with fewer people working, so your GDP per capita goes down, or AKA inflation goes up, which is what we have now. We have fewer people working. We produce less stuff per capita. We got to print off the money and buy stuff from the Chinese to make sure everyone's perfectly happy. Heaven forbid y'all set down the EBT afforded ho-hos and lose a little weight, tighten your belts. And that's that. And I even say that if there's a chapter in here, I think it's called "The Future Is Now." How it's going to go down. Chapter 7, I explain how it's going to go down. The choice and the tragedy. I think there's somewhere in here. There's "The Future Is Now." It's already happening now. You can't lose a full fifth of your labor force of men. And by the way, go get that book. We produce all the important shit. You know, the stuff that you'd like housing. Why is housing so expensive? I mean, got a chart in there that shows carpenters as a percentage of the population, plumbers as a percentage of the population. You just don't have as many people support. You have fewer people supporting the rest of the population. That's it. It's already happening. You know, you're like, what, you know, can we expect? Yeah, it's here. And then the absolute end state. Well, the absolute end state is that nobody works. And then you got, and it wouldn't be a communist. See, communism was taken, it's tyrants taking over the means of production and saying, all right, now we all get jobs and you all will work or else we'll shoot you. We still have a free labor market where you don't have to work if you don't want to. And we got a welfare state, and we got, my book kind of goes over this. We also have a tremendous subsidy by cheap Chinese labor to keep buying it. They keep accepting our funny money US dollars. Like, here, we printed it off fresh. Can we have your labor now? And the Chinese people keep saying, yeah, go ahead. Or maybe Xi Jinping says it. Maybe not so much the Chinese people, but there's a reason they're lying flat too. But, you know, this is the benefit of having a world reserve currency. We could just print it off and buy from other people. But without these artificial temporary supports, we would be suffering way more inflation and way more pain than we are now. I want to bore people with a lesson on international economics. But yeah, if enough people don't work, enough people leave the labor force, a critical point hits with where your key infrastructure start falling apart. The electric grid goes down, and it goes down long enough that the nuclear reactor can't fire up or maintain its operation, even though the nuclear reactor would be powering it. Your traffic, your bridges start collapsing. We saw this kind of happen. You're starting to see it happen here and there, but the UK, their complex systems start to fall apart. Their air traffic control shut down. Couldn't figure it out. Oil, gas, energy, refining, that goes down. Your computer networks. Oh my God. Could you imagine if the credit card processing doesn't work? Your credit cards don't process in 3 to 4 days. It's over. I mean, you're in a real, now it starts to compound the problems and explode throughout the economy. And then you got a real genuine collapse or a serious slowdown, a no joke recession. But yeah, that's the absolute end state of the job market, is if you make it impossible for people to work, they won't. And then you won't have production. And, you know, modernly what corporations, well, then we'll go overseas and get some foreign labor. It's like, good luck with that, which is one of the reasons I'd be all for President Trump or any president. If you actually gave a damn about the American people, like, no more foreign labor. We're not outsourcing it anymore. No, you don't get H-1B, but you hire fucking Americans. You pay them honest wages. Look at me. I'm sounding like a fucking Democrat, like an old school. Remember when Democrats used to work? Yeah, I've used that joke enough times. But yeah, if people don't have an incentive to work, I mean, now, in theory, inflation would kick in. People would have to work because they'd run out of food. Right? Oh, I can't afford food anymore. I got to work now. My chicken tendies, you know, well, your McDonald's food has increased in prices now, hasn't it? What was it, 5-10 years ago? You had $2 gallons of gas. Now we got $4. And you got to work more now, don't you? So it would kind of naturally balance itself out. If inflation kicked in, people would be incentivized to work because they don't want to starve. But as it is right now, yeah, shocker. Yeah. If you make it impossible to work for companies and employers, whether through ridiculous education requirements, racist, sexist, DEI, affirmative action, bigotry, or I'd say probably the biggest one, corporate fucking politics and mind games and incompetence, yeah, surprise, people don't want to work for you anymore. And all of a sudden, no, you don't make your products anymore. No, the shelves are empty now because all production comes from humans. And whereas this would, for both sexes, I'm talking, where if you make it impossible to work, people simply won't. And you can enjoy your fucking production spewed crisis that way, or lack of production skewed crisis or spewed crisis. But for men, or the added incentive, I mean, it's a lever. You could turn it on, or you could turn it off. You can incentivize men, or you could disincentivize men. If women, I know they're not a government policy, but ladies, if you'd like, I'm not kidding, if you'd like more affordable things, you would like the production to come back, you would like more housing and more cars. Well, if you're sweet, kind, and hot, that would incentivize men a lot to go work a little. The labor force participation rates will go the other way. But if you want men to get out of the labor force and all that, yeah, take away the pretty women. Then okay, you could turn it off. Matter of fact, you can. There's on where the women are hot and sweet and kind and demure and nice. There's off where women are indifferent and kind of cold and standoffish. And then there's negative where you really disincentivize men, where you turn women into fat feminists who bitch and whine and complain all the time and demand more of men's money and taxes. I think we got it in the negative territory right now. May not like that, but that is no doubt the single, well, hunger and starvation is the single one motivating force to get men off their ass. But it's the second biggest force, because men will work enough to get by and that's it. You want added production? You want fancy countertops? Well, better be some pretty women to go fight a war for. But that's kind of the end stat. We're going that direction. Higher inflation, less production. I mean, look at it. Oh, we can't find employees. We just got this sclerotic economic growth with inflation on top of it. And the unemployment rate is still relatively low. What is it, like 4%? Still maybe even might be in the threes. That's low. Because people don't want to work. So you got no production yet, low unemployment. Low unemployment. Oh, we can't find any people. We can't find any work. Why should they go work? Why should women go work for you? Trying a master's degree to go sit for some fucking bullshit. Both women's and employers' requirements and expectations of the employees and their men need to come down. You need to cut. You're just not going to find them, and you're not finding them. You're not, because men don't find any. You don't pay enough in either case. There's not enough incentive in either case, and frankly, we can't meet your standards or requirements. So enjoy the decline. Enjoy more debt and inflation and money printing. I honestly would love to see not just Trump or any politician, doesn't matter. Let's say you really are concerned about America and turning around. I'd love to see you turn this country around without making women nice and sweet and feminine again. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see you do that. I don't think it's going to happen. All right. Hopefully that kind of answered your question. All right. Let's go to the super chats. John Turkey Lurkey Smith, $2. Men work hard to buy my interspecies romance book. It's not kidding. I really, men are, I know a couple cops, young cops, where when you're a young cop, you don't have a family, you're supposed to work overtime and make a lot of bank. They're not doing it. Like, nah, I'm not doing it. Men are just going to work as much as they need and not a penny more. Arcady, Itkin, Ashkenazi Jewish agent in the field, 20 generous dollars. Cappy, is it fair to assume that male luxury good market is bound to plummet? Oh, yeah. I mean, if it hasn't already, I'm sure if I went and looked at it, but do young men buy sports cars? I know for a fact young men don't buy motorcycles. Sturgis is dying. Do men buy? I mean, they don't even get their driver's license, for God's sake. Men aren't buying fancy clothes no more. That'd be a great research, Arcady, for someone else, not me, to do. I'd almost imagine it's there right now. This is in the 80s where you had to have your fancy pants. What Zoomer do you see going out and sign? Now, there's still some boys out there signing up for the Hellcats at 27%. there's still a little bit of vanity. People aren't going to the nightclubs. People aren't out there. But the young kids don't even buy booze no more, which I'm not necessarily disagreeing with. That's probably a better thing. Yeah, but I don't see any young men buying fancy cars to impress. Certainly not. After all, why bother to impress with fancy watches and shoes if it's pointless anyway, let alone sports cars and bottle service? I think there actually is a renaissance or kind of, I wouldn't say revolution, that's too strong of a word, but men are changing their behavior where they're like, no, I'm just going to stay. I know a lot of young men are going to the gym. I know a lot of young men are just saving their money. I know a lot of young men, thanks to old timers like me and the Red Pill community and blogging, they're not going to the nightclubs. They know exactly what women's interest is. Probably that has nothing to do with me. It's pretty hard to ignore the knowledge and information and the message women are sending across. Here's another one, Arcady. What games are they going to buy? Really, what video games and movies are they going to, what common luxuries? Not expensive luxuries, but discretionary spending are they going to spend their money on? I see a lot of guys just reclusing in, staying in. Maybe they go outdoor hiking. Maybe they get their nerd on and play Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I don't see, there's, you know what we could measure? We could call it the peacock index. How much peacocking is going on? Buying fancy cars, showing it off, shit, they don't have fancy downtown condos. All these guys are living at home. They're not in luxury condos, right? I bet you it's way down. I bet you it's way down. Little in sports cars and bottle service. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it almost has to be. I kind of have my answer my own question. When you look at labor force participation rates and men working less hours, yeah, I don't see men going out. Would be interesting to see if their consumer debt is going up and car loan debt, fixed debt is going up. That might be the difference. But yeah, I mean, and like I said, I think it's a good retreat from pursuing women where guys like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Then they're kind of rediscovering themselves, what's important philosophically, what women they are going to tolerate in life. And then they're going to wait until there's a girl worthy of investing in, and they'll invest frugally. But the days of I'm going to be the baddest alpha bro with my leased Beamer, that shit's over. I don't think that's happening except for some few obscure people. And I think we're going to rediscover kind of what's important, or at least like, no, there's certain rules and standards of behavior we're going to expect of our women. Otherwise, no, we're not. And no, we can't pursue you anyway. And no, I'm not going to ask you out. I just don't have the time. And well, and that's the other thing. Men got to be incentivized too. I kind of look at the young gals today. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't. Not really. Not with my eyes now. And if I were a younger man. All economic, well, okay, I can't take, I take that book, take that back. 70% of economic production comes from men's pursuit of women. 30% is the women who produce the other stuff because they want to. It's in this book. I'm not making it up. Please go get it. It's full of charty goodness. John Turkey Lurkey Smith, $5. My mom doesn't badger me as much anymore trying to find a girlfriend. I never say, whatever your justification, you left dad. I never say, whatever your justification, you left dad for another woman. For another woman? What? More trying to find a girlfriend. I never say, whatever your justification, you left dad for another woman. Was she's a lesbian? Or you never say, are you saying you said that and then she backed off? All you have to do is metaphorically slap your parents in the face once and they'll shut the fuck up. See, they're used to beating you up. I don't mean like physically, but spanking and disciplining you. Then you get to be older and then they go across the line and you don't actually slap them across the face, but you stand up to them and tell them to fuck off and you deliver a blow like that. Like, well, you're the one who left dad. They often shut the fuck up real quick. Look at me. Look at me. I am the adult now. Yeah. And I think that's kind of going away now too. Even shocking as my mom, she's like, oh, well, can I get a copy of your latest book? I'm like, I don't know if you really want it, Mom. Not that I don't think she'd find it distasteful. I'm like, what are you going to read it for? This isn't, I like you. I see what you're writing. I'm like, okay. And no joke, she's like, I have a lot of gals at the club I go to, and they're all shocked at how the women are treating their children and grandchildren. I'm like, what? Even you old gals, even you old broads can see it? Like, holy shit. Um, so that I think even look, my old lady could see it. Holy shit, it must be very apparent. Because I thought my mom might be offended with the I hate to say it's not anti-female, it's just truth, which is construed as anti-female. But she seems, I guess she sees it through herself or her friends. And yeah, they're not asking, why don't you get married anymore? They're like, these girls treat men like shit. Oh my God. They don't bother. I got a young kid friend. I've known him since he's a little squirt. Uh Parents are my friends, obviously. And like, yeah, they look at it like, oh my God, there's just nothing out there. I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been here in my bat cave doing all the stats and research. You all thought I was a misogynist. No, no, the data's real. It's not bullshit. And I guess that's not a thing anymore. That's been 10 years since they, oh, when are you going to find someone? They're not doing that anymore. They understand. Mom, watch TikTok for 15 minutes. Okay. Oh my God. Universal coordinate 15 Australian. Hand out 1,000 resumes to get one crappy interview, just like dating. Yes. Yeah. Universal, outstanding observation. My similar point was that the gatekeepers are still women using the same techniques, but amazing. Now you got the online, you got fake jobs, you got fake dating profiles, you got online applications. You swipe right, you thought, yeah, exactly. One crappy interview, just like dating, swiping right on 1,000 Tinderellas to get one crappy date. And you got AI sifted through both profiles, right? Your resume and your dating profile. Same, not much value in either. Her become a 1099er. Yep. Look, if you make systems impossible, people stop doing it. A big reason people don't go to college anymore, just too fucking expensive. There's certainly that. You we can't find people. Well, bring back training programs and get rid of college degree requirements unless they're absolutely necessary. Oh, but if we train them, they'll just go to the competition. Well, I guess you better pay them more. It just, and after a while, I get it, man. I get why the Zoomers like, fuck you. We're not doing this. Fuck off. And then they go too far when there might actually be a good opportunity. I'm like, look, buddy, all you got to do is this. But you are right. You are right. Universal. It is just going to be self-employment because it's going to be easier it's easier for you to set up your own damn company, get an invaluable skill and market it to clients than it is going through a third-party intermediary called an employer. Just fuck off, you employers. Fuck right off. Lovember, $2 is going down like Charlie Brown Town Gnome saying. Huh? No, I'm saying, wait, are you saying, from, South Park? Know what I'm saying? Yes, I know what you were saying. Razor Power, $10. Have you checked out Josh Fluke? I recommend him all the time. That guy's the foremost authority on this. He likes to shine a light on corporate BS. Recently, there lies about returning to the office. Yeah, they're using it as a way to fire people and lay them off. But then their best talent leaves because corporations are stupid. Daniel N, $10. It's not about dropping out of the workforce. It's about getting the safety net versus working hard while being insulted. Why should men be suckers? It's all the above. Here's another. Men are just like, I don't have the money. I can't afford this. I don't have family. I'm not going to take on debt. That instability in employment leads, if not forces, minimalism. And then when they do get a stretch of good employment, they don't spend their money. They live at home. Also, it's very common. I got a lot of guys under 30. I'm sitting on 100K cash. What do I do? Fucking invest it wisely, diversified, and let it sit and get free. Like, no guy is working for a wife or kids anymore. They're working to be free. They're working for fuck you money. I don't know anyone I know guys, I'd like to get a girl and get a wife, but I'm aware that I have to go overseas or the chances are very slim. But ain't no guy slaving away for family no more. They're literally just slaving away for their own freedom. Why should men be such suckers? They shouldn't. They shouldn't. And they're not. What is it? 60% of people in college are women. Sorry, ladies, most of you are suckers. And the 40% of you men in there, unless you're engineering or accounting or something legit, you're suckers too. Ken Rose for a buck. Thank you, Ken. Well, there you are. Link below. Oh yeah, I got link below. A World Without Men. I think that's all I got. I think that's it. All right. See you guys later. Toodles.